One of the most hyped aircraft in Warthunder was the F-14 Tomcat. And in this video, we're going to discuss the F-14D Supertomcat and if it should get added to Warthunder or not. So the F-14D Supertomcat was the final, most advanced variant of the US Navy's, F-14. It was produced between 1990 and 1992, upgraded with improved engines, new digital avionics, and the AN/APG-71 radar. This basically allowed the aircraft to have superior thrust, range, and target acquisition compared to its, the F-14B and the F-14A and all the other variants of the Tomcat. Now, the F-14D Supertomcat is a pretty interesting aircraft in my opinion. Obviously, Warthunder has prized itself over the last year now in adding a crap ton of F-18s. And I'm not really going to complain about that because, well, the F-18 is my favorite aircraft. But now, seeing the arrival of the F-18A, the F-18C, the F-18C early, the F-18C late, the F-18E, the F-18F, and so on, you guys kind of get the picture. There's been a lot of Hornets added. And the Tomcat, it doesn't have as many variants as the F-18. We have seen it added to the game in variants like the F-18A, the Iranian F-18A, or F-14, my fault, F-14A, Iranian F-14A, and the F-14B. And pretty much every single time an F-14 has been added to the game, it's been, well, the best aircraft. Really, outside of the F-14B, the F-14A and the F-14A IRAF pretty much dominated. Pretty much changed how the game was played, and pretty much ruined lobbies until Gaijin decided to do something about it. So, the Supertomcat, and this is where things might get a little bit controversial. Gaijin has a couple of ways that they can add this aircraft. One, they can implement this as, well, the Supertomcat, having the upgraded radar, the new avionics, the new engines, and basically just be a heavily optimized F-14B for modern air-to-air combat. Or, they can go the very more likely route, whatever, and that is going to be adding it with the planned upgrades that it was going to receive. And this does include the AIM-120 AMRAAM. Now, popular belief is that the F-14D was tested to carry the AIM-120. And this is true, but also not. The F-14D was tested to carry the AIM-120, the only issue was it wasn't an F-14D. When the AIM-120 was tested on a Tomcat, it was a modified F-14A. It had the same systems of the F-14D, but it was not an F-14D, it was a modified F-14A. So technically, the F-14D never carried the AIM-120. I personally think Gaijin will add the F-14D with the AIM-120 AMRAAM, simply because I don't think they're going to look at avionics engine upgrades as a good enough reason to add the Supertomcat. I think that they will look at it as adding the F-14D with its planned upgrade for the AIM-120s, and say that that's a good enough reason and add it either as an event aircraft, or what actually makes a lot more sense nowadays, a tech tree vehicle. Now, for some reason, Gaijin has the idea that they need to add a new American top-tier fighter every single update. And again, I'm a US main, so I'm not really going to complain too much, but we've seen the F-15E, the F-15C, the F-15CGE, the F-A-18C late, and now the F-A-18E, oh, and then the F-16C Pobit. So you guys kind of get the picture that over the last year or so, Gaijin has just kind of, well, thrown US fighters, more modern, more this, blah, 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 blah. And I think the F-14D Supertomcat kind of just fits into that regard. Obviously, it is, a real airplane. I mean, it was in service, it was in production from 90 to 92, and the only reason I say that they should add the, planned upgrades to the airframe, to the aircraft, is simply because it just brings more fun to the plane, to be honest. Like, I love the F-14. They're always in a weird spot for me, though, because the F-14B is too high of a BR for me to enjoy it. The F-14A lacks the modern stuff that I like. I don't mind the F-14A, but why would you play it when you're either being up-tiered to Fox 3s, like a lot of Fox 3 spams are playing premium flankers with R-77s, or you're going up against Hornets that are just better. really the F14 is only faster and only has the, Phoenix, and that's really all it has over the F18C Premium. And they sit at the same BR. And so it's kind of like Gaijin needs to do something here. And if they want to add the F-14D, it's already an aircraft that, one, they've accepted as a option. They accepted it back in, I want to say it was back this past fall, as an aircraft that they were looking at adding on the forums. And it's one that's been asked pretty much everywhere in the player base. I've seen players comment this in Tomcat videos. I've seen players ask this in, Discord. I've seen players ask about this in-game. Really speaking, I think the F-14D Super Tomcat could get added to the game. I think it would just depend on how they want to add it, if they want to implement it, like we said, as what it was, which was just a heavily upgraded and modified F-14B with the new avionics, the new engines, the new radar, which IRL, that's a pretty major update. The issue is in Warthunder, avionics don't really matter outside of the radar and RWR. New radar is nice and new engine is nice, but the F-14B already fairly much suffers with the Phoenix C at the lobbies it plays in, especially when it's upgraded to 14.0. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Personally, like I said, I think they will add it with probably, I think the AIM-120 C makes the most sense, or maybe the B. And it should, I believe, only be able to carry 2 or 4 of them. So, Super Tomcat, AIM-9Ms, AIM-120Cs, or AIM-120, AIM-120Cs and AIM-54Cs feels, okay to me. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.